So I have here the all new, soon to be released TCL 10 Pro. This is part of a 2-phone launch TCL is pushing out this year. Both unlocked phones with the regular model tagged TCL 10L, and of course the TCL 10 Pro is the Pro model we have here. Let's jump right into the unboxing of this phone. So essentially I kind of get a glimpse at the life of those people who receive phones before it actually hits the market. But keep in mind, this is not a sponsored video. TCL was very kind enough to go ahead and send me a copy to review and provide you with my first impressions, and that's going to be just that. It's going to be my genuine first impression, and this is of course an unboxing. It's not a sponsored video. Let's jump into it. Now I'm going to go through some of the specs I'm already aware of that might actually blow your mind, given that this device is set to cost about $450 in the US. You can see that we're looking at a big boy here, packing a whopping 6.47-inch curved AMOLED display, so it's pretty much, at least in my mind, a 6.5-inch, with a resolution of 1080 by 2340 and HDR10 support. What? Oh, by the way, if you haven't done so already, please do me a huge favor and hit both the like and the subscribe button there. I truly appreciate your support to the channel here. So as we cut through the seal and pull the cover out, we find the phone sitting right there. And you can already see a quick size comparison here with my other Pro phones. Next here is going to be the pin for the SIM tray sitting right on top of this box as we pull and empty it out for the manual. We also find that TCL is nice enough to include this case for it, which looks like your standard TPU silicone case. I actually like that motto, display greatness, written on the back there, which is of course displayed when you put your phone down. We have of course the USB Type-C, just as expected there. And finally, we have the wall adapter. Okay, back to the phone now, directly with my first impressions here. Just from holding it and at a first glance, this thing looks fantastic. Very premium feel for sure. Now, if you have seen any other videos on the TCL 10 Pro, you may have heard almost every single one of them say that it feels premium and it looks great. It totally does. It looks really, really nice. It's a very sleek design in that aluminum frame with glass on both the front and the back, and it feels pretty light also, especially given the way it looks. I believe it stands at about 177 grams. I mentioned earlier it is a curved display with 89.5% screen to body ratio, pretty close and kind of reminds me of my beloved Galaxy Note 10 Plus in terms of screen to body ratio. It has this teardrop front-facing camera which sits right there in the center at the top. This amber gray color on the back looks more like what I would call a metallized, frosted matte graphite gray. Well, that was a mouthful, especially towards the bottom here where you can see it kind of fading. Now it's not too in your face, but at the same time it does pop to the eyes. And it also has that shimmery shine depending on how you hold it. It could be either very gray or less gray. Some people hate to hear this, but it feels nice to the touch and it doesn't seem too much of a fingerprint magnet either. Now, one of the most distinguishing features of this phone is the camera module setup. You have a 4-camera style setup sitting on this horizontal glossy strip on the back of the phone with a dual flash setup sitting on each end of the module here. The setup overall for that camera module is pretty flush too. You can pretty much sit it on the flat surface on its back without the phone rocking. So you have a 64 megapixel ultra high res camera, a 2 megapixel low light lens, a 5 megapixel macro lens, and a 16 megapixel super wide angle camera. And there are also some labels right under that camera module there telling you what camera is where, along with that TCL logo also. So let's go around the phone here, starting with the top. And yes, what you see here is the headphone jack. It's definitely not dead yet. And it also has this IR blaster. Now, you may already know TCL for making and selling budget TVs, and it looks like they're bringing in that touch by adding that IR blaster to the phone here that you don't see on too many phones nowadays. So it's pretty fitting for them to go ahead and add that nice touch there. On the right hand side of the unit, we have the volume rocker, and below that we have the power button. At the bottom here is where we will find the SD card and SIM card slot. which for me is kind of unusual to have at the bottom. I haven't owned too many phones that have the SIM tray at the bottom. But anyways, then we have the USB Type-C port next to it, the mic, the speaker at the end right there. On the left-hand side there is a button that can be customized for many things. It's the Smart Key button. Essentially, it could be assigned for different features depending on how you press it, like long press, double press, single press, and so forth. Now I've powered on and set up the phone now. So what we have here is a 4500 milliamp hour battery that will go from 0 to 50% of charge in about 35 minutes with fast charge. It has an on-screen fingerprint sensor or scanner, which works not bad at all. It also has facial recognition, which for some reason I feel is pretty fast actually. It's not Touch ID, but it's pretty fast. So this thing is running 6 gigs of RAM and a base storage of 128 gigs. Performance so far, well, at least at first glimpse, is pretty snappy. Scrolling is very smooth, so I really cannot wait until I can fully test this device and bring to you guys my full comprehensive review. Now, no matter where you stand on the spectrum of technology, you just have to acknowledge that this is very impressive. TCL is really coming out swinging, no matter how you feel about TCL pushing out these two devices. For something that's costing less than $500, oh, that's gonna cost less than $500, to already have some of the stuff that I've listed there pending my full review, I personally think it's pretty impressive. I actually read a thread on Reddit where some people were already calling this phone the replacement of the OnePlus Pro. Now, please do not quote me on that. That's just their way of saying that this thing is set to pack a lot more than expected for what it cost for a mid-range device. Now, going back to it, I personally think that TCL is coming out swinging and is ready for battle. That's just my personal opinion. Here's my take, given what I've seen so far. As far as first impression go, again, I'm very impressed. I knew there was already a lot of buzz about this phone coming out and what it was packing, but still, I'm impressed. Because when you look at what I've covered in this video, which is just an introduction, can you actually keep a straight face and say that you are not at all impressed for a device that's going to cost $450 and for all that it has to offer? Now, of course not. It is pretty impressive, and I'm very much looking forward to fully testing and bringing to you guys my full comprehensive review of this device. Now, lately on the channel, I've been leaning more towards talking about value versus cost. And this phone actually really caught my attention because it's highlighting those two things. Again, I hope this was informative. Please don't forget to like, of course, comment, subscribe. I'm going to catch you in the comment section. I'm also going to catch you in my full review coming up and also in the next video. Thanks again for watching. Peace.